Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Steve, your host, and in this episode we're going to be painting our Dragon M4A1. We've got olive drab laid down on it already, and we're going to be putting a bit of desert yellow to give it a bit of camo, I think, from the Italian campaign. The model I'm shooting for is WWII 1. So stick with us, enjoy the video, thanks for stopping by, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You guys have a great day. Okay, in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to be painting our M4A1. We're going to be doing Company G, 1st Armored Division, 1944 in Italy. The 1st AD, I think, was the only armored division in Italy. There may have been some separate tank battalions or brigades, but as far as an armored division, I think only the 1st Armored Division served in Italy. Italy allows us to camouflage our tanks. For some reason, later on in the Normandy campaign, it's generally black is the camouflage color added to the olive drab. But in Italy, they tended to use the lighter sand, so it gives us an opportunity just to do something different. So what I've got here is I've got the Sherman base coated in Tamiya XF62. It's lightened a bit. I think everybody has their formula with XF62 that they like to use. And I'm using dark yellow XF59 right out of the bottle. And it may look a bit dark right now, but once I do the weathering, it will lighten up and it'll look the job. So what I'm going to do is, what I always say is, painting a vehicle is very exciting. Watching somebody paint a vehicle is pretty boring. So I just wanted to talk about the M4A1. I'm a Sherman guy, and I just think, as far as a vehicle, I think the Sherman is pretty incredible. It was made, I think there were 49,000 or so made during the war. The M4A1 was made by 4 companies. I'm just talking about the small hatch now. Was made by 4 companies that were able to cast the upper. And in 22 months, they produced 6,281 Sherman M4A1s, which is a pretty amazing figure. And when you couple that with the M4, because really the M4A1, the M4, and the M4 composite are technically identical. Other than the hulls, they are the same vehicle. Shermans seem to be defined by the engines that they had, and the M4 and the M4A1 and the hybrid composite all had the radial engine. What happened pretty soon, I imagine, is radial engines were in big demand for the aero industries, whether it was for Army Air Corps planes or the Navy planes. They wanted to get the Army ground forces off radial engines. So you'll find the M4A2 is a twin Detroit diesel. And for whatever reason, the Army, for some reason, just doesn't like diesel. So those went into Lend-Lease. A lot of them ended up in Russia. Some of them ended up in the Marine Corps. And then you went on to the M4A3, which had a Ford gasoline motor. And the Army really liked this motor. And they tried, for their purposes, they tried to fixate on that combination. It had a welded hull. It had the gasoline engine. Later on, it had the big hatch. And I think the Army, what they did was they found their tank. And then after that, and a lot of this went on concurrently because the amount of tanks that were being produced required different engines just to keep up with the production numbers. So early on in the war, Chrysler developed, they had a very reliable automotive engine, an inline 6. And what they did was, in a star configuration, they wrapped it around 5 of these engines, wrapped it around a central core, and dropped it into what would become the M4A4. And because the engine was bigger, they had to modify the chassis of the tank and extend it 11 inches. And really, the easiest way to tell an M4A4 is it will have a three-piece, regardless of the year it was manufactured, it has a three-piece bolted transmission cover, and it's about 11 inches longer. And really, the easiest way to tell from a distance is that the bogies, the spacing is just a little bit wider, and that allowed that engine to go in. Later on, you ended up with the M4A6, which I think they only made 100, and that 100, it was a radial diesel engine, and again, the Army did not like diesel, so I mean they only made 100 or so. And what I want to do before I get too carried away, the Sherman Minutia page is a wonderful resource. I do most of my Sherman research from that page. It's a great resource, and it's something you should have on your favorites if you're a model builder. So the other thing about these M4s and M4A1s that served in Italy, they don't seem to have gotten the modifications that the Normandy ones did, the ones that went into France. You don't have a lot of the applique armor. You don't have the updated mantlets. So it's just, Italy was kind of a secondary theater at that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm working on the tools here. I've got another, we're going to transition here in a couple seconds to a video with the finished product. And I'll talk you through what we did and how we did it. And the next set of videos will be weathering and the final reveal. A little luck, I'll get it all in one shot. But I just want to say thanks for sticking with me, and enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, I did a lot of work off camera, so what I want to do is I just want to give you the final look. I've got the Sherman completely painted. I painted the stowage, the tools, the road wheels, the tracks, the caliber 50, and the commander. What I'll do in the future is I will do individual videos on how I do the tools, how I paint and make the stowage, and just to give you an idea of what we're doing. But overall, I've got and I also have the decals on. As you can see, I've used WWII 1, which was a kit decal, and that decal is, gosh, that's got to be 20 years old. It was a little bit yellow, but I did manage to get it off the backing. It broke in a couple places, but I managed to piece it together. So just starting up at the top, I've got the commander's split hatch done. I've got this is a pad of some type for his head. I always think of that as leather, so I go with that and try to do my best imitation of leather. I've got the tools done. Tools are always a lot of fun. Oddly enough, I really like painting wood, which is kind of strange. Same with the boxes. I really enjoy painting boxes, and I'll show you how I do that. I made some tarps out of green stuff, and I've got some value gear stuff on the back here and here. And just a plug for value gear, it is some amazing stuff, and the price is incredible. You get a lot in those kits. So if you get a chance or you're interested in buying stowage, look at value gear, because it really is great value, and you won't be disappointed. So I've got the tools in the rear painted. Again, I've got the tensioning device. I've got the jackhammer. I've got the starter crank, and I think I've got maybe one or two things I have to add back there. There's some towing shackles. I did move this guy out of the way. I did the tracks offline. I don't do anything special with the tracks. What I do with these, I shoot these with Tamiya German gray. I like German gray as a black substitute. I think it's just the right shade. And really, I try to avoid using any solvent-based stuff on rubber band tracks, because I think it leads to problems. So I went ahead and did the rusting with some Vallejo rust, and I've got that, and I've got some stuff on the inside that you won't see. Then I came back and did a dry brush, so I'm pretty happy with that. There's a lot of schools of thought about just what happens with the end connectors. Some people do it dark. Some people I like a bit of color on it. May not be realistic, but it seems to work. One thing, and I've talked about this in the past, with the drive sprockets with the Shermans, the way they engage the teeth on the track or the end connectors is this is where you'll get wear. Not on the outside like you would on a lot of German vehicles, but the wear is going to be there. So I just put some silver in there or some steel for some polishing. Washed it, gave it a bit of a dry brush. This is the Academy Caliber 50. I've got a lot of Sherman parts. Like I said, the kit didn't come with one, which I was disappointed in. So I painted this German camo black. It's not, so it's not black. I avoid using black. Did the wood portion on the charging handle and the spade grips and the ammo box. This is quite a nice caliber 50. This setup has to be maybe 25 years old. There's a lot better kits out there for caliber 50s, but this one is still pretty good. And finally, I've got the Commander figure. This guy came out of my spares box. He is the commander for Tamiya's M4 Sherman, and I think he's a good-looking figure. Not a great figure painter. I get better a little bit each time. So painted him up, and I'm happy with him, and he's gonna look good in the hatch. Overall, I think we're doing okay. So, one more thing. One thing you want to do on VVS Shermans, the idler is not rubber. It's steel, and you're going to get wear on the edges because this is in contact with the track guides. And I just paint that steel just because I think after a while it would get polished. So overall, pretty happy with the way it's turned out. There was some things in the build I wasn't happy with, but I managed to overcome those. Our next set of videos is going to be the actual weathering and final reveal. I'll try to do the weathering in one video, but overall, not bad. Had to go to my spares box for a few things, but still pretty happy with the way it turned out. You guys, thanks for looking, and I hope you guys enjoy the day. Bye now.